The Glyn Memorial Stages would be one of the final events in 2019 and indeed the final round of a number of championships, including the Junior 1000 Series, which we will cover in the second half of this review. 2 days of competition then lay ahead of the crews at Track Mon at Anglesey, and as always, a favourite with the crews and the spectators alike. The stages on day one, as usual, would go into the dark. On to the first day of competition then, and it would be the lead for Mark Kelly and Neil Coleman. The escort pair clearly holding nothing back, pushing the car as much as they possibly could on the various sections of the circuit and the infield to take an 18-second lead going into day two. Just behind them on the leaderboard would be Rob Hughes and Sean Cunniff. They were struggling a little with the grip, trying to make a few changes to the suspension as the day went on to compensate for it. Things were starting to get better for the pair as a result of those changes, but they would have that 18 seconds to find on day two. And rounding out the podium positions at the end of the opening day here at Anglesey would be Lee Jones and Lewis Griffiths. Things going well for the pair, no issues to report, but a little way off the two crews up ahead. It had been a late call-up for Jamie Vaughan, co-driving for Roger Moran this weekend. The pair had competed together before, of course, though, so it wouldn't take long to get into the swing of things. They struggled with the grip on the opening day, though, resulting in a couple of spins, but nothing serious, ending the day with fourth and just 9 seconds back from those podium places up ahead. Moran's biggest competition this weekend, as things would stand at least, would come from this man, Roger's son Scott. Chris Ridge alongside, once a year outing for the driver normally found hill climbing. They too would suffer with the lack of grip and spin the escort on a couple of occasions, actually ending the day on an identical time overall to the Darien crew up ahead. Andrew Morris and Chloe Thomas would be suffering with a few suspension issues on the Saturday. It wasn't holding them back too much though. They take the lead in Class C at this stage, as well as 6th place on the overall leaderboard. For Brandon Smith and Mervyn Williams, meanwhile, it would be 7th. The Darien pair ending the day with 5th in the class as well, 13 seconds back from Morris up ahead. And just behind them on the results overall and in the class would be Berwyn Evans and Murray Half Evans. 8th place overall, 6th in the class, 20 seconds to find if they wanted to gain that class position up ahead. Sean Jones and Will Owen make a great start to the rally by taking the Class B lead on the opening day, and it would be a solid lead as well. The Saxo pair lying inside the top 10 with 9th place. So rounding out the top 10 at this stage would be Wesley Simpson and Joe Ford. Probably a little further back on the overall times than they would have wanted to be, but still going, and that was the main thing. Let's take a look then at some of the class positions outside of our top 10 leaderboard, and it would be 2nd in Class C for Chris Berry and Daniel Petrie, just outside the top 10 in 11th place on the overall leaderboard, and only 5 seconds back from Simpson. The fight will be on into day two. 2nd place in Class B will belong to Derwin and Ellen Roberts. 2nd in the class, 15th place overall in the escort. Sean and Dean Hughes almost had to pull the entry this weekend due to Sean not feeling well. And with only 20 minutes sleep, he did struggle through the opening day to take 3rd place in Class C. Not bad going, considering that this weekend was the first time out for the pair since this event last year. And they changed the engine in the car since then as well.
90 right. 90 left.
Things have been going well, meanwhile, for David Williams and Andrew Davies, up until the intercom broke, that is. They get it sorted fairly quickly, though, with the loan of another helmet. The real time lost would be in the dark, when the pair underestimated the amount of light needed on the night stages, dropping back to 4th in the class. This weekend would mark the first ever rally with a new sequential gearbox for Jonathan Davies and Jamie Wallace, and it would also be the first time in the car together. they were having some trouble keeping that car on the road for the first of the day's stages. A trip to the tyre van for some new tyres would soon sort that out though. They end the day first in Class A. Second in that class and hard charging will be Martin Quant and Chris Evans, 21 seconds off the lead for now and going well in the Corsa, lying 21st place overall. And they will be followed by this man, Chris Rowe, Jane Auden-Rowe alongside the MG pair, third in the class, a further 22 seconds back from Quant up ahead. And rounding out the top of the class finishers on day one will be Peter Jackson and Morgan Owen. Third place in Class B for the pair now, 32nd place overall in the Fiesta. So with the first day of stages complete, the results are starting to shape up and the leaderboard is looking like this. On to the second day of competition then here at Anglesey, and it really starts to hot up now. A look at some of the class and overall finishers, and it would be a great weekend for Tony Jackson and Paul Jones. This would be the first time out in the driving seat for Tony, usually of course found servicing for son Matt Jackson, among other roles in the service area. But this weekend the tables had turned, Matt servicing for his dad. Thankfully, he'd get the John Goff Mini around the stages without giving him anything to do in service. A testament to the car's build as well. Of course, these Minis will be out in force with John Goff behind the project in 2020. Tony just missing out on third in his class in the process. For Peter Jackson and Morgan Owen, there wouldn't be any change in that class result. They end the rally third in Class B. The class pretty spread out over the results this weekend, it had to be said. A maximum on the third stage of day one would cause Mark and Joe Young to be down the order more than they would have wanted, or perhaps where we'd expect them to be. They do still, though, have a good weekend, despite not being in the car for 6 months. And things will be going well for Keith Anglesey and Laurie Walker up to the final miles of the rally. The engine mount breaking close to the end. Thankfully, they would fix things with a ratchet strap in true Clubman style, and they were able to continue a little more cautiously, it had to be said, to the finish. For Stephen and David Terry, it would be third place in Class A to end the rally. A strong finish for the pair in the micro. Chris Rowe and Jane Auden-Rowe would gain a place in their class. They move now into second place in Class A by the end of the rally. A nice, strong finish for the MG pair. And for Jonathan Davies and Jamie Wallace, it would be the Class A victory. A wrong split put them down the order earlier in the rally, but a good drive for the rest of the event would see a comeback and also see them climb back up the leaderboard to take the class win and 16th overall. Sean and Dean Hughes, though, just miss out on a class podium this weekend. It would have been a good return to the stages, and in fact, probably was anyway. Going well for Dean's second time in the co-driver's seat as well. For Derwin and Ellen Roberts, it would be second in Class B. No change for the Escort pair into day two. They keep hold of that class position to the finish and end the rally with 14th place on the leaderboard. We, of course, saw that change to third in Class C with a drop down the order for Sean Hughes, and taking his place in the results will be Nigel Greensall and Toby Marshall. They step up to take third place in Class C this weekend. On we go then to the top 10 leaderboard here at Anglesey, and it would be a 10th place finish in the Glyn Memorial Rally for Greg Williams and Richard Edwards. They take 6th place in the class as well with that result. For Chris Berry and Daniel Petrie, it would be a good overall and class result. The pair ending the rally second in class, but also with a well-deserved 9th place overall. There would be no change at the top of Class B. Sean Jones and Will Owen keep hold of that lead in the class to the end of the event, taking 8th overall in the process. And Andrew Morris and Chloe Thomas would have a bit of an issue when the fan belt snapped mid-stage. Thankfully for them, they don't lose a lot of time with that though, and they're still managing to take the Class C victory, as well as winning the ANWCC Championship for a second year in a row. There will be frustration for Rob Hughes and Sean Cunniff, with some last-ditch problems to report. Some setup changes overnight would see the pair take the lead, a lead that they'd held on to for a good while out on the stages before the drive shaft would fail, causing them to gain a stage maximum, and as a result, dropping them down the order to 6th place overall. Back to the fight though, there'd be a little time gained on day 2 for Brandon Smith and Mervyn Williams. They managed to work their way up to 5th place on the leaderboard by the end of the event. Perhaps this had been Darien weather after all. It was either frustrating or character building. Lee Jones and Lewis Griffiths weren't sure which. Prop shaft failure on the start of the final stage would cause them to drop down out of the podium positions into 4th. A good strong finish still, but not the podium that it looked like they were going to end the rally with. On to those podium positions then, and it would be 3rd place for Roger Moran and Jamie Vaughan. That family battle had been going on all weekend, but it would be Dad Roger missing out this time and settling for that 3rd place on the podium. Still, of course, a fantastic result, and we know who'd be buying the beers in the bar that night. Of course, that meant it was a 2nd place finish for Scott Moran and Chris Ridge. They take the family honours after taking that position from Dad in the final stage of the rally. Just 3 seconds the difference at the end of a full weekend of rallying. But taking the victory this weekend, and somewhat in a class of their own, it had to be said, were Mark Kelly and Neil Coleman. Their rally hadn't gone to plan fully themselves though. A drive shaft would need changing on the Escort. Luckily, during the lunch break, and the pair were able to continue without dropping any time, taking victory with a little bit of luck by almost 4 minutes. We reached the end of the Glyn Memorial Rally, so here's a reminder of those final overall results. On to the Junior Rally then, and back to day 1. This weekend, the juniors coming from the various championships across the UK to join together here at Anglesey. But it will be Rob Wilson and Martin Haggett leading the way overall at the end of the opening day. This will be Rob's final junior event, having recently turned 17. They wanted to end the season on a high before he graduated into senior rallying, but the car was also for sale, so keeping it in one piece was also part of the brief. That lead at the top would be a good one as well. 45 seconds to be exact over this man, Max Hughes. Chris Evans alongside. The pair in a similar car didn't have as much of an advantage in that position themselves. In fact, the fight was well and truly on. It would only be 15 seconds back to Archie Swinscoe and Neil Bye, the 3rd place pair, rounding out the podium at the end of the opening day in that Skoda Citigo. This weekend would be the 3rd rally together for Cian Hughes and Michael Jones. This being Cian's last ever in the Junior Championship as well, like Rob. And things were going well here at the final round at Anglesey, with 4th place overall at this stage. There would be, though, problems early on for Oliver Hunter and Richard Crozier. They bend the steering early on in the rally, struggling for top-end speed, and they were leading the way in the Scottish Cruise at the end of the opening day. Despite all of this, not bad going. This weekend counting as 2 scores for their championship, and that would mean a maximum score for this part of the event. Matthew Jones and Christopher Brearley would be struggling with the setup of their car. The rear of the car set up too hard, causing it to be a bit nervous. They do keep hold of it though, sometimes having to really hang on, ending the opening day with 6th place overall. There'd be problems though for Lewis Hooper and Sam Billum. They managed to knock the lamp pod off the front of the car just before the night stages, meaning it would be a tricky couple of stages in the dark, well and truly in the dark for the micro pair. They end the opening day though with 7th place. Problems too for Tom Naylor and Tom Bishop, of their own making as well this time. They slide off the stage into a tyre wall on the 2nd to last stage. Only cosmetic really, but it would leave the lights pointing upwards. Not ideal for those night stages, of course, when you need them pointing downwards. Tom had the help of previous rival driver Billy Grew this weekend with support and advice in service, and he'd need it. For James Hancock and Colin Evans, it would be 9th. A good start to the rally for the Citroen pair, 18 seconds back from Naylor though. And rounding out the top 10 at this stage in the Junior Cruise were Cameron Davidson and Ian McRae. with the Scottish Championship points being taken from each day of the rally. This result would be enough to get them the championship victory for the season. Celebrations tonight, a bit less pressure tomorrow, but they'd want to keep that car in one piece and, of course, end the weekend on a high. There'd be problems before the rally even got started for Lacey Brown and Andrew Walshaw. Immobiliser issues preventing them from getting the car going. But with the help of Lewis Hooper's team, they get the car onto the stages and out for the rally, enjoying their first taste of rallying in the dark once the night time started to arrive. True clubman rallying and true rally spirit shown here by the juniors. It would be a broken drive shaft causing issues for Jack Hall and Robin Nicholson. They'd been in the fight for the Scottish Championship going into this round, but this retirement from the opening day would mean that all hope of that was now gone. They'd get things sorted though and back out the next day to chase down that second position in the standings. So the first day of competition here at the junior round of the Glyn Memorial Rally was complete. The leaderboard at the top of the juniors then was looking like this. On to day two then, and a look at the final results in this junior championship finale. And it would be a finish on day two for Jack Hall and Robin Nicholson. With each day counting for points, their overall position wouldn't matter. The times on day two would, and it would be enough to secure them second place in the championship at this final round. Wiper issues would be causing some problems for Lacey Brown and Andrew Walshaw. Of course, their rally hadn't even been problem-free from before the start of the first stage, but worse was to come. A problem with the rear wheel would send them off the stage and get them stuck. They get going again with the help of the marshals, and although it was all but game over, the service crew worked their magic and got them out to complete the event, albeit with the car missing a bit of bodywork. Tom Johnston and Ted Runciman came into this round in the lead of the Scottish Championship. But when dropped scores were taken into account, it put them on the back foot. They do still manage to bag themselves the Novice Driver Awards for the season and Top Micra. A good outcome for the pair, nevertheless, this season. And this would be the first season in the juniors for Harry Walshaw and Ian Houston, and it's safe to say that they were enjoying themselves. Sadly, they do go straight on into a tyre wall on stage 14, causing them some damage and losing vital seconds, but they do get to the finish in 16th place. Letitia Conn and Ian Crosby make the trip over from Northern Ireland for this weekend, contesting the Scottish Championship. The result this weekend would see them finish in 4th place of that, both on the event and in the championship standings. Meanwhile, it had been a mixed run this weekend for Adam Houston and Clive Alford. It certainly wasn't without its problems, including a couple of knocks to the car. They'd be happy with their finish, though, on the pair's first visit to Anglesey together, and it was at least character building. Confidence was reigning high for Dylan Roberts and Dylan Thomas, this being their home event, and they put in some good times as to be expected, ending the rally 12th place on the leaderboard, happy with how things had gone this weekend. We're on to the top 10 then in a bumper junior category, and it would be David Burden and Aled Edwards rounding out the top of the results in that micro. Things were going well for Rob Wilson and Martin Haggett, right up until a mistake lost the pair 4 minutes on the stage. They still take the championship victory and would keep going through the second half of the day to enjoy the stages, get more seat time, and of course go out on a high. For the 2020 season, the pair will be looking to head to the gravel and take part in the BTRDA Rally Championship. And here at Special Stage, we wish them the best of luck. With the title in the bag then, it would be a relaxed day for Cameron Davidson and Ian McRae. Coming here from the Scottish Series, they end the rally with 8th place overall in the VW Up. For Lewis Hooper and Sam Billum, it will be 7th place this weekend, enough to get them 3rd in the championship. A great result in Lewis's first season, also taking the pre-2003 title as well in the micro. Tom Naylor and Tom Bishop will be more than happy with their 6th place overall finish. They felt that they'd probably spent a bit too much time going sideways and losing a few seconds here and there. But at least the pair were having fun at getting some experience of handling that car sideways on the stage. That can't be a bad thing. For Kian Hughes and Michael Jones, it would be 5th place. Kian had been awarded the most improved driver this year in the Junior Series and was clearly capable of some good results in that Suzuki. Meanwhile, 4th place was a great finish for Oliver Hunter and Richard Crozier on their last ever junior rally. They enjoyed the challenge that the venue had to offer here at Anglesey, and they kept things going to take that 4th place overall, just 3 seconds off the podium positions. After a competitive couple of days here in the Junior Series at the Glyn Memorial Rally, then we move on to those podium positions, and it will be Matthew Jones and Christopher Brearley rounding out those in 3rd. A great result, doing more than needed to take the Rookie Championship victory as well as 2nd place overall in the championship for co-driver Christopher. For Max Hughes and Chris Evans, it would be 2nd place this weekend. The difference in the top of the results was fairly close. Hughes with a 25 seconds advantage in that 2nd place over Jones, and ending the event 23 seconds back from our rally winners. What of those winners then? Well, that honour this weekend would go to this man, the hard-charging Archie Swinscoe, kneel by alongside. A great rally for the pair, some good times and some misfortune to contend with around them as well would see them taking a 23-second victory at the end of 2 tough days of rallying here at Anglesey. Confirmation then of the final results here at the final round of the Junior 1000 Championship season.